What are some challenges of being a Notre Dame football coach that you do not encounter at another school, such as your other South Carolina, Minnesota, Arkansas? What will Brian Kelly be surprised by Notre Dame that he hasn't seen?
I think the amount of attention the media follows them, and what I have found in sports, that when you go to a school and you take it to the very top, that's the story, and that's what everybody wants to write about. And what you'll find is once you're on top, there's only one story, or you're beginning to fall down. And so being on top and having success, that's no longer a story. It's about, well, this guy didn't tie his shoes right, and this guy did this, and this guy had a beer, and it's just a constant exposure you have. And yet at the same time, you had some problems, not problems, you had some difficulties within the university that they make certain decisions that nobody on the outside understands. Yet Notre Dame is a very special place. It isn't your team. You sort of take care of the team till the next guy comes along. It belongs to the university and to the people, but he will find out that it's just a very, very special place. I'm sure he's already found it. Eric Parseghian said to me, when I went there, and I just love Eric Parseghian, and it was a great help to me. He said that Notre Dame will be different than any place you've ever coached. And he said if you're fortunate enough to win a championship, the job will change again. And it does. You get on top, and once you win the championship, I felt that we won at least one more, but I felt there was a little bit of a backlash because of the NBC contract, et cetera. But just being at Notre Dame, you walk out, I tell you, you walk out of your office, it's midnight, you're tired, it's snowing, you're worn out, and it's June. You know? Still special.
Are you for a college playoff of some sort?
Well, I think we aren't going to have a college playoff because just follow the money. The NCAA basketball tournament has a lot of interest, makes a lot of money, but most of that money goes to the NCAA. And in college football, all the bowls and TV revenue goes to the conferences. When the SEC will get $11, $12 million a team, they don't want to give that up. Now, I would like to see us have a playoff. I'd like to see us, if I were conference commissioner, I would do two things. If they say you're head of football, you can do two things. The first thing I'd do, I'd say, okay, the second week of the season, we have conference versus conference. The Big Ten is going to play the Big 12. And the SEC is going to play the Pac-10. And the Big East is going to play the East. It's that week. And next year, we're going to change who you're going to play. That would be one thing, so we get a better idea, being able to evaluate who the better teams are in the country by having a correlation how the conference people did with one another. The second thing I'd do is I'd say we're going to go back to bowl affiliation to the conferences. They're all going to be done by January 1. I would not want to do anything to do away with the bowls. I was fortunate to go to 20-some bowls, never had anything but a great experience. You don't go tell the players at East Carolina that 2 years ago when they beat Boise State in a bowl game that wasn't a great experience, or tell them the heartbreaking loss they lost to Arkansas this year, that wasn't a great experience. So let's make sure we keep the bowl system as we have it. But let's have all the bowls done on January 1st. Let's go back to the Big Ten, play the Pac-10 championship, the SEC goes to the Sugar Bowl, etc. Now, that's on January 1. Now let's take the top 4 teams after that, and then let's come up with a 4-team playoff, and then the championship be determined on the field. That's what I would do. But, you know, nobody's really asked me that at ESPN, nor do they really care what I think. So.
How difficult is that as an analyst, being on the other side of the camera now, and talking about Notre Dame not as a national power?
Well, one of the policies ESPN has, you can't show favoritism, and I've tried to do that. That's just me. Don't ask me to root against my son. Don't ask me to talk about Notre Dame and not be biased. I mean, it just, or any other place I've coached, I have an affiliation. There's places were awfully good for me, and it's still part of my life. But what I do try to do is be honest and expressive things, but I don't try to be overly negative on anything. But, you know, people talk about Mark May. Mark May is a wonderful individual. He's very smart, he's articulate, he's professional, he works at it hard. And we just have a difference of opinion when it comes to looking at a football. He looks at it as a player. As a player, it's always a coach's fault. It's always somebody else's fault. They're never their fault, you know. And that sort of carries over. I wasn't a very good player. As a coach, you're always looking for a reason why something. But we're very good friends off, Reese, Mark, and I. I would expect Mark to be a pallbearer when I die. I would hope so my wife doesn't have to hire him.
Coach, I'd like to ask you something non-sports related. You've spent a lot of time speaking motivationally. I've heard several of your speeches. What motivates you to come and speak to people and motivate others?
I'm more interested in the message, and I think that I was asked a question one time, and I might even use this tonight. If you didn't show up, who would miss you and why? If you didn't go home, would anybody miss you? Why? If your television station ceased to exist, would anybody miss you and why? If we're playing a football game and our certain player didn't show up, would we miss him? And if we did, would we miss him because of his attitude and the way he encouraged other people? So I think the whole thing about life's adding value. And you're my age, as I said, that, I don't want to do much more except you have to have things that keep you going, dreams and things like that. But it's just about maybe I can say something here that's going to have an effect on people. And just by coming here has met an awful lot of wonderful people, and met the head of Kraft Food here. It makes marshmallows, and a Notre Dame grad. Didn't understand you should take off your name tag when we take a picture, but other than that, it was very impressive.
Coach, from your speaking engagements to being with ESPN, you just seem so busy. Is there any chance that you're going to be slowing down anytime soon?
I tell you, that surgery where they had to go through the back of my head and put in 3 artificial vertebrae and 2 rods slowed me down. And I tell you what, I never thought I'd ever murder anybody, but had I been able to get a hold of that doctor for the first 6 weeks. But no, as long as I have good health, et cetera, and my wife and I have been married 49 years, and she understands that I'm gone for a reason. But, I just we try to have quality time. Family is very, very important to us, but I just don't want to go live in a town with the average age is deceased. Now, some people need coaching to live. I think there comes a time where you step back and you let the younger people do it. But yet at the same time, when you stop having dreams and goals and having a reason to get up in the morning, then I think it really affects your health as well. As long as I stay on the go and I'm active and I'm involved, and my health remains good, then I'm going to continue to try to make a difference in people's lives. And, I'm not preaching or lecturing. It's just what I experienced. Every story I'm going to talk in there is absolutely true. It isn't something like, wow, I read this in a book, or this would be nice to say. You just share it with them.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.